What is going on, everyone? Anthony here, and today I will be giving you a spoiler-free review for the brand new CGI Resident Evil film, Resident Evil Death Island. The film takes place after Resident Evil Vendetta in 2015, and it takes place just before Resident Evil 7. The reason why these films are always something to look forward to as a die-hard Resident Evil fan is that it does take place within our game's lore and canon, while bringing on new villains and events for our familiar characters to go up against. Now, these films usually focus on more action over horror, but include many layers for various creatures and BOWs to keep us fans happy. Now, the trailers for this were building up the return of Jill Valentine, and Jill finally meeting up with Leon, and I have a cast filled with most of our classic Resident Evil characters. It really got us fans ready to see where these characters have been and what they will be up against this time around. The setting of the movie mostly takes place in Alcatraz Island, which is a very cool backdrop for where the virus begins to take over. Something about the island along with the prison that just works for Resident Evil. The zombie attacks first start in San Francisco. Once they realize the victims all took a visit to Alcatraz Island, they further investigate to soon realize all of the investigating is leading to the same connection and to the same person. I love seeing our original characters work together and solve cases like this, and it was a real treat to see the interaction between Leon, Chris, Claire, Rebecca, and of course, my favorite character of all time, Jill Valentine. This is the first time we have seen her in the RE timeline since Resident Evil 5, after Wesker took control over Jill. That took place in 2009. So this taking place in 2015 indicates she has been off the front lines for about 6 years, and this is finally her big return. I'm happy we do get to see a different side of Jill, who is still a bit damaged emotionally since the events of what happened. It was great to see Leon and Jill finally meet up and fight together, as us fans have been wanting to see this for years, and it finally happened. I think they did a good job at giving everyone enough screen time and good action sequences for the characters to show off all their skills and crack some jokes in between. All the classic Resident Evil characters together like this in this movie was easily the best part. The virus itself was similar to what we have seen in previous titles, but they had a chance to switch it up. The zombies return in this one, but they are a bit different and more powerful than before. We also get some more aquatic monsters like the aquatic lickers and the zombie shark, which both were showcased a bit in the trailer. Some of these moments were short-lived, and I wish we got to see a little bit more of the enemy types, but the scenes that we got did have a pretty good pace to it. This film does have plenty of callbacks, and one of them is to Raccoon City, which was a cool thing to see, and I won't spoil exactly what it shows. The film balances these scenes out very well, and it gives us enough action that works with these types of CGI films. Because let's face it, they are supposed to be a bit more over the top, and we have fun with it as fans. This film does feel a bit more grounded than Vendetta in many ways, and while I did like Vendetta, I appreciated how they handled it this time around. There were various themes here of getting older, betrayal, loss, getting burnt out after years of fighting, and also what our heroes are fighting for every time something like this happens. The Dylan character, who is played up as the villain and in control of the virus, is probably one of the weaker and more forgettable links here. It wasn't very memorable or a standout as an RE villain. They do a good job at writing him in a way where we do see his background from the beginning, so we see his perspective and get his motive, but much of it just seemed very much like deja vu, with his next move into power doesn't really feel that impactful. Many of these CGI films do a great job at putting a lot of time into the animation and the motion capture. It definitely shows here, and I also like how smooth everything looks in the fight scenes and how you can tell what is going on with each action scene. They seem to get better with the animation every time with the movies, and it even overshadows the recent Infinite Darkness Netflix series with its animation. The voice acting here was very well done by the whole cast, and I also thought that Nicole Tompkins brought her RE3 remake energy with this performance. It genuinely brought a smile to my face to see Jill Valentine back and to see her get time to shine in this movie. And we also get to see her interact with everyone else in the crew, and that was a real treat to see for us fans. Sure, we saw Jill come back in Resident Evil 3 Remake, but that was 1998 Jill. We really were anxious to see her post the 2009 RE5 events, and I am happy that it delivered, at least for me. Of course, you will get the references and all the connections if you have been following the franchise for a while, and it definitely leans towards more of the hardcore RE crowd like most of the CGI films, but people that might only know Resident Evil from the recent remakes or sequels can still enjoy it and get a kick out of it. Overall, I really enjoyed the CGI film and would probably put it up there with my top 3 just for how they handled the characters being all together, and Jill Valentine being at the core of this movie alone makes this something that fans will enjoy for years to come. Stay tuned for my in-depth spoiler podcast review, and don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more LTRE content.